Welcome to BNEWS Entertainment Buzz 2025 Oscar Preview. This is our 8th annual show. I'm Phil Gallagher. My guest is Chris Flaherty, who is BNEWS entertainment reporter. Chris has a degree in film, media, and interactive.
Film, video, and interactive
media.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get that one. You know, it's only 8th year,
That's
I think
right.
I could recall. Graduate of Quinnipiac.
Quinnipiac, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
okay, great. All right, now that I've messed all of that up on the intro, nothing new.
No, nothing new. It's still the same diploma. So
Okay, let's start with the industry as a whole, as we always do.
yeah,
We've been talking about ups and downs and decline in viewership, streaming, and the impact that the streaming's networks have had. What was the total box office this year as far as Gate is concerned?
so it was down 4% from 2023, and 2023 was the highest year we've had since the pandemic, and we haven't crossed over 10 billion since 2019. So we're still in, I guess you could say, a recovery period from the pandemic, but I don't think movie theaters will ever be the same after what COVID did to them.
What's going on, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And this was a strange kind of a year because the voting was derailed, kind of?
Yeah, so obviously the big Los Angeles wildfires, they'd postponed voting twice. There was a big talk about maybe postponing the whole ceremony altogether. Stephen King was kind of leading the charge on the boycott of having a ceremony.
Well, he didn't have a nomination.
No, he didn't, no. And I scoured the internet to find any other A-lister or even a B-lister that was against this, but
Right.
it just seemed to be just him. But I can understand why they still want to have it, give people something to enjoy during these dark times. And they say they're going to honor all the first responders at the ceremony, so we'll see.
Now, there was another controversy in the Best Picture nominee, which is The Brutalist and Amelia Perez. Tell us what happened there.
Yeah, this has been an interesting year because who the frontrunner for Best Picture has changed like 3 or 4 times. I'll start with The Brutalist because that's the easiest one. That is a 3.5-hour cinematic epic with intermission, which I was so happy when I saw that come up in the movie theater. Could go to the bathroom, get a new popcorn if I wanted to. But it stars Adrian Brody as Laszlo Toth. He's a Hungarian Jew who survived the Holocaust. He's an architect, and he makes his way to America to hopefully seek out the American dream. And then, spoiler alert, the American dream, not so much. And it's received a lot of great reviews. Everyone loved it. They loved the fact that there's an intermission in it. It reminded them very much of the longer epics from the 90s. The controversy came when it was found out that they used AI to sort of enhance Adrian Brody's Hungarian accent, which isn't the biggest controversy we'll talk about, but when you remember the industries went on strike for the use of AI, it's pretty bad. Yeah.
Right.
So that's just the short version of The Brutalist's controversy. There's much more to talk about with Amelia Perez's controversy.
Okay, what was up with Amelia? I know she's pulled back quite a bit.
Yeah, so I'll set the scene. Amelia Perez is a French film that is streaming on Netflix. It stars Zoe Saldana as an attorney in Mexico, and she is contacted by a drug kingpin who wants to transition from man to woman, but also to escape his criminal lifestyle. Now, before I get too far into this, I'm going to look right at that camera and I'm going to say representation matters and everyone deserves a story and everyone has a story that needs to be told. That said, this film is bizarre.
Okay.
Because I think immediately, just when I told you that he wants to transition but also escape his criminal past, the message is already fuddled up. Because, okay, so is he transitioning to escape his criminal life? That's not what I took away, but that's what a lot of people are taking away. That it's painting trans people as these like deceptive criminals. And then, spoiler alert, it turns into a telenovela Mrs. Doubtfire halfway through because she now wants to reconnect with her children and his wife, played by Selena Gomez. So with Zoe Saldana's help, he brings his wife and children back to Mexico saying, like, I'm your husband's cousin. So she moves them into her mansion, but she's never telling them who she really is. So it gets really dicey. And I haven't even dropped the biggest point, is that this is a musical. This is a musical.
Well, weren't there some comments too that were made by or was that in the Brutalist? Somebody made some.
No, yeah. So the main actress, Carla Sofia Gascon, I'm pronouncing that wrong. Stop me if you've heard this one before. Old tweets resurfaced.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah. So she was a front runner for the lead actress category, and she has since pulled out of the award circuit due to the controversy. So,
do you think it'll hurt the film, or is it unlikely to be the winner anyway?
I think, well, for a long time, people thought this was going to be the front runner, but then I think people started coming around to it, especially with all this controversy. And a lot of people have said, how is this even nominated? I think just because, and I've done my research, like it's unlike anything that's come before. It has representation. It might not be good representation, but it has representation. The director, he's very beloved in the international film circuit. And also the film did really good at festivals, and usually festival buzz helps you out in the long run. And also the Academy has expanded its voting body to include a lot of international members. So that's kind of where this fan base for Emilia Perez came from. And also I just think it's on Netflix, so it's probably one of the most easily accessible nominees.
Right. When I first heard The Brutalist, I thought it was a film about the guy who designed Burlington High School.
The major the architect, or the major project that Laszlo Toth goes on in this film looks a little similar to Burlington High School, I have to say.
Or Boston City Hall, which apparently Mayor
Yeah.
Wu has nominated or made it a national something or other, what they did, national architecture something or other. What do you call it?
Architectural significance
yeah,
or something.
Yeah, something like that. Okay.
Oh, okay. Art is subjective.
Which it should have been knocked down years ago.
Probably.
Okay. Now, well, you mentioned the different representation in the voting body. That came as a result of the new diversity rules. Tell us about that.
So last year they enacted some new diversity rules, and every Best Picture, or any film that wants to be eligible for the Best Picture nomination, it has to meet 2 of 4 standards, and that's on-screen representation, themes and narratives, creative leadership and project team, industry access and opportunities, and audience development. Just looking at the nominees this year, I say yes, there is much more representation. Just looking at Emilia Perez, I see representation. But yeah, I think it's a solid step forward.
Right. Well, Richard Dreyfuss didn't think so.
No, he didn't. Well, I think he's still upset he didn't win for Jaws.
Okay. So you can find more on the standards at www.oscars.org, and its representation and inclusion is that website. Okay, so let's go into the nominees, the top nominees, and start with your favorite, the best animated features.
We always start with the easy one.
Yeah.
Although it might not be an easy one to call this year, as I'll explain. So best animated feature, the nominees are, we have this film Flow, which is a co-production from France, Latvia, and Belgium. We have Inside Out 2 from Disney and Pixar. We have an Australian production called Memoir of a Snail. We have from Aardman Animation and Netflix, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul, pun intended because the bad guy is a penguin. And then again from DreamWorks and Universal, The Wild Robot. Normally there's a clear front runner in this category all year long. Not so much this year. So Flow has won the Golden Globe. The BAFTA went to Wallace and Gromit. And The Wild Robot got the Critics' Choice, the Producers Guild, and the Annie Award, which is the Oscars for animation. It's like their own specific guild.
Now, as far as the people are concerned, didn't Inside Out top everything from the box office?
Inside Out 2 was the highest grossing film of 2024, and it was Pixar's highest grossing film ever.
That's saying something.
Yeah, and also the fastest animated film to hit $1 billion since the 2019 Lion King. I thought when I was originally reading the article, I thought it meant the original Lion King, but then it meant the remake, and I'm like, oh well.
So during the year, during the run out, during the Oscar period, it was like 670 million, something
Yeah,
in that order?
exactly. No, it was a juggernaut for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not bad. So who are you choosing in here?
So I think Flow will win because it had the early Golden Globe, it had the BAFTA, and it's kind of a technical achievement. So it is a silent film, and it was done. It took 5.5 years to make in this free animation software called Blender, and it's basically a post-apocalyptic world, and there are no humans. There are just animals, and there's been this great flood, a tsunami, I understand. And so these animals are kind of like a makeshift Noah's Ark, and they all gather on this boat, and they're going somewhere. I'm not sure where. I don't think it's a perfect film as everyone is claiming it to be, because like it's really impressive that you can do a film that is completely silent with animals. That said, the animals don't always act completely like animals. Like a real bird can't drive a ship, and a lemur is not a hoarder. But it's very nice. It's a good film. I would see it again. It's just I don't think it's perfect. I think a lot of people are impressed by the fact that it is silent and it was made like in this free animation software.
Silent film, that would be something to win.
Yeah,
It got Golden Globe, but Wallace and Gromit.
Wallace and Gromit got the
BAFTA,
BAFTA, which
yeah.
is not surprising because Wallace and Gromit is a British production. I really want The Wild Robot to win. That was my favorite of the year, and I think critics and audiences all loved that one, and it was a winner of 9 Annie Awards. So to me, that's my favorite. The cynical side of me says don't be surprised if the Disney brand buys another award for Inside Out 2, but we'll see what happens.
Now, how many of these on the top money grossing films are animation?
So we have, let's see,
We have Inside Out
2, which was animated, Moana 2,
Moana.
which was animated, Despicable Me 4, which was animated, and Kung Fu Panda 4, which was animated. So 4 out of 6.
4 out of 6.
Yeah.
4 out of 10.
All sequels, too.
4 out of 10.
4 out of
yeah.
10, excuse me.
All sequels.
All sequels, yeah.
I mean, Despicable Me 4, I mean, it's almost like Fast and Furious 11 or what's the longest running sequel
I think
number of sequels?
I think it is Fast and Furious. Yeah, if you're not counting the Marvel movies, which are all offshoots of one another. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so and again, your pick hopefully is Wild Robot.
Yeah.
Who do you think will win?
I think Flo will take
Flo
it,
will take
but
it.
I will be very happy if the Wild Robot wins.
Okay, let's move on to Best Supporting Actor.
Yep.
And this kind of eliminates some of the the animation since
Yeah.
there are no actors.
Nobody ever, no performances in animated films ever get nominated in these categories, which is sad. I think the only time is in the BAFTAs in like 2001 when Eddie Murphy got it for Shrek. And no, he didn't win, but obviously that was unprecedented and it's never happened again. But for Best Supporting Actor, we have Yura Borisov as Igor in Anora. This is his first nomination. In fact, most out of these are first nominations. Kieran Culkin as Benji in A Real Pain. Edward Norton as legendary folk singer Pete Seeger in A Complete Unknown. This is his fourth nomination, but the third in this category. Guy Pearce as Harrison Lee Van Buren in The Brutalist. I was very surprised to find out this was Guy Pearce's first nomination. And Jeremy Strong as attorney Roy Cohn in The Apprentice.
So Edward Norton, I would think, would be a front runner in this one. No,
That was my pick initially going in, but Kieran Culkin has just cleared all the categories from Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, BAFTA. We're taping before the Screen Actors Guild, but I think depending on what happens at the Screen Actors Guild, I think Kieran Culkin will just complete the clean sweep.
that's Macaulay Culkin's little brother, right?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Okay, we don't see much of Macaulay around these days.
No, he enjoys his privacy.
Okay, and last year's winner was Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey
in
Jr. for Oppenheimer,
which was
yeah.
a fantastic film.
Exactly,
In case
yeah.
you haven't seen it. Best Supporting Actress.
So, and again, we're going back to the Bob Dylan biopic, A Complete Unknown. We have Monica Barbaro as Joan Baez, her first nomination. We have Ariana Grande as Galinda in Wicked. That's her first nomination too. We have Felicity Jones as Elizabeth Toth in The Brutalist. This is her second nomination. Isabella Rossellini as Sister Agnes in Conclave, another first nomination. And then again, Zoe Saldana as Rita in everyone's favorite, Amelia Perez.
This surprises me that the complete unknown Timothy Chalamet didn't get a nomination.
No, and I would say this is probably his best performance ever. I am not a big...
Oh, no, wait a minute. He was in Dune now.
Well, I haven't seen Dune, and I apologize. But as someone who is only briefly familiar with Bob Dylan, I saw Bob Dylan on the screen. I was like,
that's
this
what I
is
thought
Bob
too.
Dylan.
I'm a big Dylan fan.
Yeah.
So who do we think in here?
I
Isabella
think-
Rossellini, she's been around quite a while. I'm surprised that this is her first nomination.
Blue Velvet, way back when. I think it's a legacy nomination, plain and simple, just because she's been around for so long. I don't think it will be a legacy win because, again, Zoe Saldana has cleared the board with the Golden Globe, the Critics' Choice, and the BAFTA. Miraculously, all this Amelia Perez controversy has not touched her. I think everyone can agree she is the best part of the movie and probably the most salvageable part of this movie. So it's almost
salvageable part.
It's like a Purple Heart giving her the award. Yeah. So
good characterization.
Yeah. So I think she'll win again because she's also like dismissed her co-stars like previous remarks about whatever she said on Twitter. So I think easy money's on Zoe Saldana. I can't believe I would ever say this, but I would be happy if Ariana Grande got a win for Wicked. I thought she put her heart and soul into that one.
Really?
Yeah. Which, I mean, she does have acting background. She was a child star before she was a singer.
Certainly, yeah.
But she just put so much love into this role, and she really sacrificed so much of like her mind and body for it. And there was like a video of the director zooming her and letting her know that she got the part, and it was just really emotional. So she cared a lot about it, and you can see it on the screen.
Great. Okay. Best Director.
Best Director. So again, a lot of first-time nominees this year, which is nice to see more newcomers getting nominations. But we have Sean Baker for Anora. We have Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. James Mangold for A Complete Unknown. This is actually his fifth nomination, but the second directing nomination. Jacques Audiard for Amelia Perez. He's nominated 4 times for this movie this year. And then Coraline Farjat for The Substance. And this is only her second film.
No repeat winners in here, huh?
No repeat winners. It should also be noted that the winner of the Critics' Choice Awards, John M. Chu, who directed Wicked, was not nominated this year. So, again, it really seemed like The Brutalist was the front runner in this category with Brady Corbett. He won the Golden Globe, he won the BAFTA, and then I think the controversies came out. And then Sean Baker won the Directors Guild Award, which is a big win because once you get the guilds, you're very much like a shoo-in almost for the Oscar.
Well, we don't cover special effects. I don't see Dune in here anyway. Did Dune get anything for special effects?
I'll have to check my fact checkers on that one.
Okay, all right.
But
so,
I'm hearing that we'll talk more about Dune in the coming weeks.
Yes,
Yeah.
Good. Okay. And again, who was your pick here for the winner?
So when I saw Anora, I loved it. But in my head, I was like, there's no way this film is getting nominated for anything. But it's become the front runner now after Amelia Perez and The Brutalist have sort of fallen from grace. So I'm all for Sean Baker and Anora. Like, he won the Guild Award. That's safe money in my mind.
Pretty big, yeah. Okay, lead actor.
Okay. So lead actor, there's some veterans in here as well as some newcomers. Adrian Brody as Laszlo Toth in The Brutalist. This is only his second nomination, and it would be his second win, too. Timothy Chalamet as Bob Dylan in A Complete Unknown, his second nomination. And fun fact, he starred in multiple Best Picture nominations. Like, he was in Lady Bird, he was in Little Women, he was in Dune 1 and 2, he was in Call Me By Your Name. He's got a good resume for a kid so young. He's averaging 2 Best Picture performances a year. Then we have Coleman Domingo as John Divine G. Whitfield in Sing Sing. This is his second consecutive nomination, so he got his first nomination last year and then this year. And then Ray Fiennes as Cardinal Thomas Lawrence in Conclave. This is his third nomination, second in this category. And Sebastian Stan as future president and convicted felon. I'm sorry, I had to say it. Donald J. Trump in The Apprentice.
Soon to be overturned on appeal.
Yeah.
Had to say it.
Okay. All right. It was fine.
We'll have to put money on that later.
Okay.
Okay. So who is your leader here?
So Adrian Brody has been the front runner despite all the controversy about AI being used to alter his accent. Again, AI is a scary thing that can alter your accent, but we've seen it do a lot scarier things.
But it's really not a performance if they don't use your voice, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could see it as a supplement, but then also I can see why couldn't you hire an actor that actually could perfect that accent.
Right.
But regardless, he's got the BAFTA, the Golden Globe, and the Critics' Choice.
So what did they nominate him for? Body language? They
I
certainly
mean,
didn't nominate him for his voice and emotion, right?
I guess, yeah, his not his voice, but he does. It's a very heartfelt performance to see this man basically escape prosecution in Hungary.
Hungary,
Oh
yeah.
my God.
Hungary,
I'm not a geologist, I'm sorry. And basically try to make a life for himself in America, as he's been, told for years, like, you can go to America, you can live your dreams out. And you just see him, he almost achieves it, but then time and time again, he's just beaten up by everyone around him. And it's a nice story about, like, sacrificing your art versus, doing what your boss tells you to do, something like that. One for me, one for them. It's a very good performance.
The sacrifices that almost all of us have to make.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's resonating on that level. Again, no one has really emerged forward to usurp him. If I were to pick anyone on this list other than him, it would probably be Chalamet, or even, I thought Sebastian Stan did really good as Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. It wasn't like an over-the-top like caricature making him look like an evil man. It was very real. The whole film is his relationship with attorney Roy Cohn, and how they sort of influenced each other down the line. Really more how Roy Cohn influenced the man that we have today in the White House.
Well, there's no way that will win, because they'll...
I think people would be too afraid to nominate him.
Yeah, well,
the fact that he's even nominated is a miracle. But I think people would be too afraid to win.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So, Adrian Brody, Laszlo Toth, Brutalist. It's going to be a legacy win.
Yeah, BAFTA, Golden Globe, Critics' Choice. That's a hard lineup to beat.
Yeah.
Okay, Best Lead Actress.
Okay. So we have Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba in Wicked. This is her third nomination and second in this category. We have Demi Moore as Elizabeth Sparkle in The Substance. This is her first nomination, again, a surprise. Carlia Sofia Gascon as the titular character in Amelia Perez, again, a first-time nomination. And then Mikey Madison as the titular Honora in Honora, her first nomination as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
We're going to have a first-time winner there. No, Cynthia. Well, we don't have a winner, a previous Oscar winner in that crew, right?
No, but I don't think, no one here has ever won before.
Right.
Interestingly, if Cynthia Erivo were to win, she would complete her EGOT status, Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, Tony. So she'd be one of the few entertainers that is able to
That's the
win
grand
all four.
slam. That's like a
That's the
grand slam of acting,
yeah.
right?
Again, Carla Sofia, I don't think she's going to win again after the controversy, and she's also pulled out of the limelight. And as you and I both know, this is very political. Every time you're on that stage and you're making a speech, it helps the voting body for the next award ceremony.
Well, plus this is the year of the changes in the voting process.
Yeah.
And isn't Cynthia Erivo going to be Jesus Christ?
Yeah, I heard about that. No comment.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah,
That seems odd.
Art, entertainment, subjective.
Yeah, right.
So I think Demi Moore, as much as like it was hard for me to stomach The Substance, is going to win this award. She won the Golden Globe for musical or comedy and Critics' Choice, and she's a longtime veteran. I'm sure she has like her fans in the Screen Actors Guild. Depending what happens on Sunday, I think she'll get it. The only one that I think could steal it away from her is Mikey Madison for Honora, because she did win win the
The
BAFTA.
BAFTA.
Oh, excuse me. And we have one more nomination, Fernanda Torres as Eunice Pavia in I'm Still Here. She won the Golden Globe for drama, but I don't think she's going to win. Normally, when you have the two Golden Globe winners, where they separate musical comedy and they separate drama, usually the drama one wins. I don't think that's the case for this year with Demi Moore, and she's been very open and honest and earnest in all her awards. She was like, "Oh my God, I've never won anything," and to me, I said, "Really? Demi Moore has never won anything for all her prolific work?" I'm like, "Okay,
not even an Emmy."
I guess not.
Really?
No, which is great. And this movie definitely, she put the work in for this one. If you have a weak stomach, I wouldn't recommend watching it.
No, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for that. That warning. Last year's winner was Emma Stone.
Yeah, for Poor Things. Yeah.
She's outstanding. Okay, Best Picture.
All right. So just for the final count, I've seen 7 out of 10 of these.
Pretty good this year.
Yeah, pretty good. Had to do a lot of catch up last weekend. But. All right. So we've got Anora from Neon Pictures. Again, we have The Brutalist from A24. We have A Complete Unknown from Searchlight. We have Conclave from Focus Features. We have Dune Part 2 from Warner Brothers. Again, we have Emilia Perez from Netflix and Pathé. We have I'm Still Here from Sony Pictures. Nickel Boys from Amazon and MGM. The Substance from Mubi. And Wicked from Universal.
Okay, this is the second year in a row there's been 10 nominees, right?
Yeah. So a long time ago, it used to be just nominate 5.
Right.
And then they were saying, let's bring it up to 10. And then they were like, well, we don't have to nominate 10, but we'll cap it at 10. And they've done 10 consistently.
Right.
So I'm just asking, is it too much to ask for 8?
Well, I think, the more nominees there are, the more sell there is, the more chatter there is about the film.
Yeah, but then you get films like Dune Part 2 where there's no acting nominations for that film, which is surprising. Or even Nickel Boys. Nobody from Nickel Boys is nominated. So does that mean you expand all the categories to 10? I don't know.
Kind of a throw in there.
Yeah.
Although I thought it was a great film, but I thought the previous one was a great film. The original one was outstanding.
The David Lynch film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he passed away recently.
He did recently, yeah.
Right. But plus the cast was, Captain Picard was in it.
Kyle MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan, yeah. And what was his? Jürgen Prochnow was the king.
I can't remember his name.
Jürgen Prochnow, yeah, he was in Das Boot. Was a great film. Anyway, that was before you were born. Okay, so what are your predictions here?
So again, the front runner has changed multiple times this year. Emilia Perez, at the start of the season, it had the most nominations out of all the films with 13. By comparison, La La Land and Titanic each had 14. But as we know, most nominations will never equal most wins. Emilia Perez won the BAFTA for film not in the English language, and it won the Golden Globe for musical comedy. And then we have The Brutalist, who won the winner of the Golden Globe drama. Again, these two films have sort of lost some momentum going forward into the award ceremony. And then Anora has kind of just swept in and taken all these awards. It won the Critics' Choice, it won the Directors, Writers, and Producers Guild, and it was the winner of the Palme d'Or at Cannes. And only one film in history has won all those Guild Awards and not won Best Picture, and that was Brokeback Mountain in 2006. So smart money's on Anora. I'm Team Anora. I thought it was a great film. It was a hilarious film. I love seeing a type of film like this make it this far in the Oscars. I can sell it to you if you want. So Mikey Madison plays Anora, who is a stripper sex worker. She meets the son of a Russian oligarch who is just hanging out in New York City for a while. And, they hang out, they hit it off. They get married against his father's wishes. So the father sends his goons to New York to annul the marriage and bring him back to Russia.
Annul by what means? By paper or by violence?
I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Okay, no spoiler alert. Okay, good.
And then the son, the Russian son, her husband, disappears. He runs out of the house and he disappears. So then It kind of turns into The Hangover, but with a sad ending. It's hilarious. And originally I wasn't like, am I going to like this film? Because initially I'm like, why are you two getting married?
Doesn't make any sense.
And then as I go on, I'm like, why are you marrying him? He's an idiot. But it sticks the landing. I like it. It's not, again, none of these films are for everyone, but if I had to recommend one film on this list that wasn't Wicked, I would say Anora.
Okay, can we expect any surprises? Was it last year La La Land won all those awards, and then somebody got up there
No, that was
and awarded La La Land, but it wasn't the winner? That was 2 years ago.
No, that was like, oh my God. That was the first time we did this. That was
No.
Yeah. That was in 2017. Yeah, when La La Land, well, they read La La Land on the envelope, but they had the wrong envelope, and it was actually for Moonlight. I mean, listen, I like good controversy. I love to report on some controversy. But we've had some pretty safe Oscar ceremonies for the last few years. Safe
Here's
for,
a controversy.
Yeah.
Phil can't remember 7 years ago. Okay, where to watch these?
All right, so if you're inclined to watch any of these films, which I hope you are, because there are some good ones in the batch, Netflix has Emilia Perez and Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul. Disney Plus, not surprisingly, has Inside Out 2. HBO Max has Flow and Dune Part 2 and Dune Part 1, if you want a double bill. Peacock has Conclave and The Wild Robot. And Hulu has A Real Pain, which is Kieran Culkin's film that he's nominated for. And then the rest of these you can either see in theaters or rent on demand and digitally. And if you really like the film, buy it on Blu-ray and DVD. Support physical media.
Okay, have we got any specials that are coming up, any weekends that are going to show all the films?
So next week, Cinemark will be doing their Best Picture week. So you get $40 for a festival pass, and you can go whenever you want and see all these films. The closest location is in Salem, New Hampshire, but they're not doing it. So if you feel like going to Hadley, Massachusetts, you can go see the Best Picture nominees there. AMC, the closest participating location is the Boston Common one. They're going to do their 2-day marathon and their 24-hour marathon. Day 1 of 2 starts this weekend, and then the 24 hours next weekend. I remember the first year I did this, I did the 2-day. And after that, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do my homework better. There's no way I could do it this year when you already have one film that is 3.5 hours long.
Right.
With intermission, which is nice.
So you can get more popcorn.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we already talked about some of the highest grossing ones. Were there any surprises on there? Moana, Wicked, Deadpool, Inside Out, those are all.
I mean, these are all, easy money. I mean, animated sequels is like printing money.
Right.
The fact that Moana 2 has made this much money is probably a little controversial. So originally, Disney was making a TV series for Moana on Disney Plus. And then earlier in 2024, they released a trailer saying, hey, Moana 2 in theaters this Thanksgiving. And we're like, where did this come from? So it turned out that somehow in the 11th hour, they said, let's rework this multi-episode TV series into a movie. And I would love to have been a fly on the wall in the editing room to find out how they miraculously turned this TV show into a cohesive and entertaining film.
Yeah, that grossed $404 million.
Yeah, and again, it didn't have a movie budget. It had a television budget, so the returns are phenomenal. And it also kind of stinks because a lot of the animators weren't paid film salary. They were paid television salary. So some more hot water for Bob Iger and company.
Okay, well, Disney's been, the stockholders have been up in arms, and the stock price has declined, and there's been all kinds of controversy surrounding it, about nobody wanting to watch Disney anymore, but yet how many, they have 3 out of the top 4.
3 out of the top 4, yeah.
Yeah.
Disney Plus isn't the top streaming service now anymore. I think it's Max, but I mean, clearly Disney is not going away anytime soon.
No, when you're talking about $1.7 billion, I think, in total gross for those films.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to the box office flops for the year.
And, it's sad because you look at the domestic box office and they're all sequels, and then you look at the flops and most of them are originals, which is sad. There's two sequels among here in the box office flops. That was the Joker sequel with Joaquin Phoenix, and then Sony's Madam Web with Dakota Johnson. And then there's a lot of remakes and passion projects in here. That
So
sadly
who
did not-
wins the Oscar for the biggest flop, dollar and cents wise?
That would be Francis Ford Coppola's passion project, Megalopolis, which had a budget of reportedly 120 to 136 million, and only came home with 13.9 million.
I hope that wasn't all of his own money.
Actually,
It was.
It was. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's it for our Oscar preview. I want to thank our guest, Chris Flaherty, our entertainment reporter here at BNews. Thank you for joining us.